Welcome back. Now, Lost Horizon is a solo art exhibition by Johannesburg-based artist Bevan De Wet. This is a series of prints, collages and handmade paper works that are described as an exploration of imaginary landscapes and spatial planes inspired by our shifting relationship with the natural world. The exhibition opened on the 4th of February and will be showcased until the 11th of March. Now, the artist joins us on Zoom to talk more about the exhibition. Bevan, a very good morning to you. A warm welcome to Morning Live. I mean, tell us more about the concept behind Lost Horizon.
Hi there. Thank you for having me, and good morning to all the viewers. So the exhibition is, well, I think you summed it up quite nicely in terms of the techniques, but I'm quite interested in how we have this, our relationship that we have to the natural environment and to the world around us, and how we've sort of mapped the whole world in a sense. And I think in a way it's about repositioning how we look at these borders and boundaries and how we view the world. I think in a world that's very interconnected, especially through digital interfaces, it's almost like a speculative imagining of revisiting how that mapping works.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about the title, though, more than anything. Speak to us about the significance of that title.
So I came across the title Lost Horizon. It's based on a book by James Hilton from 1933, and it's a story of, I suppose it's a story of people who are trying to find utopia. But I think the message is that the people who are searching the hardest are the people who will never find it. So it kind of just stuck with me, and I like this idea of this, a horizon line is this space between the earth and the sky that sort of separates it. And I think, with our quest for visiting other planets and space travel and that sort of thing, there's this kind of sense that what we know as the kind of layout of the land and the sky and how it all meets, it can be shifted. And I think a lot of the works I've made on the show are sort of imaginary landscapes that don't necessarily have this traditional sense of here is the land and here is the sky. It's this kind of overlaying and complex multitude of spatial planes that is that kind of becomes a bit abstract because we can't necessarily read it as a traditional landscape.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the pieces that have been installed for this exhibition. Unpack some of the pieces there, and which one is your favorite, if that's even possible.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I think as an artist, you spend a lot of time with these works, and you spend a lot of time with it in the studio. And it's an interesting thing that when you're working in the studio, everything you're doing is you're looking down at it. Which has also got an interesting relationship to this kind of topography and topographical map. And as soon as it goes up onto the wall, it becomes a totally different thing. So a lot of the time you're sort of seeing the work for the first time. I think for me, the works that are most significant, I've got a series of I'm quite interested in paper making. And so I've got some handmade paper collage works. So I embed a collage into the paper, and then I cut into the surface and kind of peel away the layers and draw on the surface. So, in terms of just layering and multitude of surface layers, those works are my favorite for that reason.
Mm-hmm. I mean, speak to us about, the thought of, engaging ideas around construction, architecture, and how you explore those in, the notions of progress. Tell us more about that.
So I think a lot of what I've been dealing with in my work for a long time is this kind of tension between the natural environment and the structures we put on the environment. So especially in terms of buildings and architecture and that sort of thing. And I guess I'm just always interested in that interplay between the two, and also looking at, I'm kind of just exploring this kind of space where the two meet, where nature and man-made things are overlapping.
Is that where, you attempt to create a new mythical imaginings of the environment?
Yes, I suppose so. I think, maybe having an interest in science fiction and space travel, there's a lot of unknown and a lot of potential, and so it's a lot of sort of speculation. So, I enjoy that I can, as someone who had an interest in architecture, and before I studied art, I considered being an architect. It's nice that I can kind of draw things that are architectural, but are impossible to create. They are sort of impossible structures. And I think that's the nice thing about being an artist, is that you can it is creating your own mythology. It is inventing your own things, which is what I really enjoy about having that freedom.
Yeah, I'm interested in, at what point did you make the switch, from architecture to art? Look, architecture is art in its own form, but when did you decide to take the off-ramp and incorporate it in your work?
Well, no, very early. I didn't study architecture, but I always wanted to be one. And in high school, I started doing technical drawing, and I was actually quite good at it, but it just didn't feel like the right thing for me, and I changed over to art. So I guess as an artist, and I suppose I've always just thought about the what if potential if I had studied that. And I think, I'm quite interested in geometry, so a lot of the sort of tools I learned from early technical drawing are still used in my work today.
You know what, it's fascinating. Bevan, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck with the exhibition going forward. That was Johannesburg-based artist Bevan De Wet, and he's been speaking to us about his solo exhibition at Gallery 2. It's titled Lost Horizon.